Hello, Hitless Gaming here, bringing you an awesome in-depth guide on how to get started doing Tier 0 Abyss. Uh, as a brand new player, this guide is, there's a lot to learn in here for both new players and veterans to refer back to, but it is a solid guide. It will give you enough information to be able to complete a Tier 0 Abyss as a brand new player with a very basic understanding of the game. I was hoping that cat would stay there because we had an issue while developing this video. And I did want to mention it now. And so if you guys don't like that, tell me in the comments. I was going to redo and refilm everything, but it had ruined enough. My headphones, I thought were on. I thought I was listening to everything. They're just muted. So I produced a lot of the content of this video not realizing that the cat TV audio was playing with bird chirpy sounds. Let me show you guys here really quick. If I unmute this here, it sounds like woodland creatures. So this is going to be the background for a good chunk of the video, unfortunately. I did mitigate it as much as I could. However, there's only so much that I could do. In Adobe, you can't quite remove bird chirping all the way. I think it's kind of serene. I do apologize for it. It won't be in future videos. The reason this exists is because the cats needed something on the table, and they love it. They absolutely love it. So I got a monitor. I set it up on the little table here. They watch it. There's a little mouse. My cats go ratting. It's pretty great. But for the live stream and everything, we have set up a kitty camera pointing right at that as well. So when I'm making content, I'll generally run the screen. But there's the cat cam. As you guys can see, she is super into that mouse. And she might just jump for it. I don't know. But with the bird chirping, if you look in the background where I am, you'll see that there's a cat playing in the background. Yeah. Enjoy the video, guys. And we'll see ya. Yeah. Enjoy the video. Is she going to go for it? No. We picked the Kestrel for one reason, is that it's cheap. And the second reason is that it has a light missile and rocket damage bonus along with a range bonus. So even if you have poor skills, the range on the missiles will be sufficient for what you need. So that is why we picked the Kestrel. The debate was Kestrel or Condor. And the reason the Kestrel beats the Condor is because it has an extra high slot and missile launcher hardpoint, making it make more damage than the Condor. This is why we picked the Kestrel. For the fitting, it's really simple. We have light missile launchers of the TE-210 Ample light missile launchers. We select these ones because they're cheaper than Air Ballists. Air Ballists are like 500k a piece, and they don't have they don't lose out a lot over Air Ballist. And them being cheap is really important. We do want to keep the fitting cost down, as this is one of the first ships that you get when you kind of get into Abyss. The next module, the mid slots are filled with a small compact PV acid cat battery. Again, it's meta to be cheap. This is not expensive. A 1MN YS8 compact afterburner. These are both the easy to fit meta modules. And then we have a medium C5L compact shield booster. The reason we went medium instead of small is because there's a couple spawns that hurt really bad, and the medium makes it so that you survive even though you're not cap stable. You can kill it before it kills you. This fit does require a little bit of cap management, but that's okay. It's something that you'll learn and you'll pick up pretty easily. The next one is a compact multi-spectrum shield hardener. The compact is better than the tier 1 shield hardener, and it uses less CPU and has 4% more resist, and it's cheaper. So there's no reason not to use this. And then we have a ballistics control system 1. Again, instead of the instead of the meta one. The meta one gives you more DPS and less CPU use, but it's like 10 times the cost. I think this is like 10,000 ISK, and the meta one is something like 3 million ISK. It's literally as expensive as our whole ship, so it doesn't make sense to put it on our ship because it doubles the cost of our ship and doesn't really gain us a whole lot. And then the Mark 1 compact capacitor flex coil gives us more capacitor, as do our 3 capacitor control circuits. This fit is designed to be fittable with near minimum skills. By minimum, I mean like you just made your character minimum without invite code, and you want to get into the ship in the next like 2 hours by slow training minimum. If you have your 1 million skill points, by the way, the link's below. If you have your 1 million skill points from an invite code, this ship is easily flyable, very easily flyable. This is the reason why we picked it. We'll get into skills next. The loadout for what you want to carry for this ship is you want to carry at least 400 Caldari Milner light missiles, and then the rest Caldari Navy light missiles, the Nova variety doing explosive damage. And then, of course, you need your filaments. This is a ship that has a less than 100% success rate, meaning that it can fail, not because you did something wrong, but because there is a room that just outright kills it. And that's because this ship has one really big weakness. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It's got plenty of tank. You're not going to die. You're probably not going to time out. But if you run into a Skybreaker, even if you have really good skills, this ship cannot break a Skybreaker. Skybreaker just means go fly out of bounds and reship. The ship is only 3.3 million ISK. So if you save up an ISK to fly 2 or 3 of these, or to buy 2 or 3 of these, or if you get like 25 million ISK, this is a, like, you can throw a couple away. The Skybreaker's odds of spawning are really low. And then there's also a sister spawn to the Skybreaker called a Pacifier. And if you have just the skills required to fly the ship and no support skills and no better skills, like we're talking like as little skills as you can have, you won't be able to break the Pacifier. However, if you train up some skills and carry the Milner light missiles, you will be able to kill the Pacifier, no problem. So you're just really afraid of the Skybreaker spawn. And I'll get into those. Hopefully we can play with them a bit and get into those in the demonstrations of how to beat rooms. But this fit's really easy to fly. We'll get into skills next. Or we already did skills. I don't know. Hoitless has definitely got this taken care of on the editing table, I'm sure. All right, so the skills required to do this are actually really simple. As I say in another part, you can get away with a less than 100% success rate with very, very minimal skills. The skills being Energy Grid Upgrades 1, or Energy Grid Upgrades 3. Sorry, I have Energy Grid Upgrades 3. You start with it trained to 2 as an alpha. Light Missiles trained to 1 in order to use Light Missile Launcher. Shield Operation trained to 1 in order to use the Medium Shield Booster and Multi-Spectrum Hardener. Weapon Upgrades trained to 3 to allow you to use the Ballistics Control System is all that you need to fly this ship. That's all you need. You don't need any support skills. You don't need anything else. You don't need any capacitor skills. That's what will make the Kestrel work. Optional skills go all the way down to where rockets are. So everything here and below. I'll include my up to rockets in the description here. I'll put this in. I'll make this into something that you can copy and kind of chase up as a guide. But rapid launch is a support skill. All these are support skills. What happened here? This is a short 2-minute window. I was flying the ship in this form with the lowest skills to see what was possible without training anything and how it was runnable without skills. And then I encountered a pacifier and I wasn't able to break it. So these were the skills that we found. We trained the easiest skills to fit or to use until we were able to kill it. I believe we went all the way down to guided missile precision. We use our invite code skills. I think we only use like 250k skill points too for this list of skills here. But we trained these skills in order to have more DPS, and we ended up being able to kill it. I think we killed it here because there's a 20-minute disparity between here and here, which tells me that, because I do remember getting out of this situation. We 20 minutes, within 20 minutes, we killed it. But with these skills, we were able to kill the pacifier. That is light missiles trained to 4, rapid launch trained to 3, target navigation trained to 3, and missile launcher operation trained to 4. And then guided missile precision trained to 2 allowed us to kill the pacifier. After that, we got docked up. I think we did a couple more sites. And then we trained up some more DPS skills. Caldari Frigate gives us DPS. We train those up. Weapon upgrades. Caldari Frigate again to 4. Rapid launch and guided missile precision. This made it really comfortable to be running the sites. And then as soon as we got into... I think this allowed us to run until we ran into a Skybreaker. It took us 2 days to run into a Skybreaker. When we did run into a Skybreaker, I was out of the Kestrel already, but it is possible for you to run into Skybreaker with the Kestrel. So you definitely want to be prepared for the eventuality of losing your ship if you run into a Skybreaker. But like I said, you really don't need a lot of skills to fly this, but as you train skills, you'll go faster and you'll make more money. Which is good. If you reduce site time, you can do more sites in X time. So you would end up making more ISK. And that is the goal of this, is to make a little bit of pocket money so that you can afford to buy your cruiser. So you can afford to buy your next ship. So you can afford to lily pad in the next activity. That is why I'm making this guide. Anyways, skills are important because they make you faster, but not required. As you can see, we did very few skills to actually get into the ship and fly it. And I'll give you the whole list of skills that I've trained on this character. You probably ignore rockets because we haven't used rockets yet. And we haven't used Gallente Frigate yet. But aside from that, this character's pretty much just been training for better missile launcher use since I made it. But the minimum skills required to do this are literally these. You will die to pacifiers, but if you train up to here, you will be able to kill the pacifiers, and then you're going to need to upgrade your ship to be able to kill the Skybreakers. Yeah, that's all I really got for skills. Mostly it's DPS skills. Once you train these, you definitely want to get in on the Magic 14. There is now a awesome new website made by CCP called the EVE Online Academy. And the EVE Online Academy does have the Magic 14 listed there. So make sure you get on your skills, guys. But this fit doesn't really require a lot of skills to function. And that is part of its amazing draw. All right. So you just undocked your shiny new Kestrel. And you're trying to do Abyss. How do we do Abyss? Or how do we get into our first site? What's really important is that we make a bookmark, and you need to have something that's somewhat hidden. I'm not going to show you guys where mine is. And you can be lazy about making this. You can be as creative as you want. But basically what you do is you hit F9, and what you're going to do is you're going to warp to a random thing. So we warp here within 100, it doesn't matter. You're going to hit Control B. And when you hit Control B, you open up your bookmark menu where you can make bookmarks. Now, while you're in warp, you can make a bookmark in mid-warp. You can see my icon here is me moving right here. And if I hit Control B and submit a location, I'll drop a bookmark right there. And then what I can do is I can warp to this bookmark. And this is my own little unique spot that nobody else has. They can see you on D-Scan, and they can scan you down to get to you. But this is my own unique little spot that I just made. You can get really creative with this spot. And for example, you can warp from here to here, right? And then you can make another bookmark like right here between these two. And then you can warp from this bookmark to this bookmark, and then make a bookmark in between here. And then you can have another bookmark made that way, and then warp between those two. And then you can get like right here, which is somewhere where you normally couldn't get, and is kind of off the path. So if you got really creative with this, you can get into some interesting spots in the solar system, making your bookmark. The more obscure your spot and the further it is off D-Scan, the less likely you are to be found. So depending on the system that you're running in or where you're running, you may want to get more or less creative with your bookmarks. I definitely do recommend that you make a nice little safe one and get creative with it, because it's your home, and it's where you are going to be trusting that your trace gets left behind to not get killed. Don't let that scare you if you're a new player. Just make a bookmark and hop on in. So now we got our bookmark. We're going to go ahead and remove that location. I don't need that one. So now we've got our bookmark that we've made, right? Because you guys paused the video and you made your bookmark. Because hopefully you do that, or you tell me in the comments, I didn't have time to make the bookmark while you're explaining how to make a bookmark. Something. So you're going to go ahead and label that bookmark safe spot or abyss location or whatever you want to call it. As you can tell, I don't make bookmarks very well. I don't name them the best. I've named it safe spot 1, and then my instadoc. We'll get into that once we get out of the first abyss. We made an instadoc. So we're going to go ahead and go to our safe spot. And now, to open up the abyss and to get into the abyss itself, you have your filaments and your cargo. For frigates, since we're flying a frigate, you're going to need 3. I'll go ahead and explain this in just a second. So when you're in a cruiser, you need 1, and when you're in a destroyer, you need 2. When you're in a frigate, you need 3. That's because these are designed to be ran with 3 players, and we're just going in alone. We can bring 2 friends, but we don't need to. So if we go ahead and use this tranquil filament, we're brought with this menu. The first time that you have it, it's going to have cruiser selected, and it's going to be red. And it's going to tell you why it's red when you hover over it. It says this filament is not compatible with your current ship. You must board a Tech 1 or Tech 2 cruiser before you can activate the filament. Pretty self-explanatory. If we do cruisers, it says this is it has 2 lines here. It says you must form a fleet to activate this filament, and the abyssal filament is not compatible with your current ship. Please board a destroyer before you activate the filament. And then, of course, we're going for 3 frigates. We're going to need 3 of the filaments. If we have, for example, 2, if I go ahead and change this stack to 1, and then we jettison 1 in space. Jettison. All right, so if we jettison that in space, we select 3 frigates. It just tells me I must form a fleet to activate this filament. So how do you form a fleet if you're alone? You're going to go into either local, corp, rookie help, whatever channel you're in, and you're going to find your own name. And in this bit, my name is Malus on this character. And Malus is a special character. Malus is going to be the first character I've ever given away. At the end of the month in this challenge, I'm going to be giving away this character. To enter in the giveaway, you are going to have to hop into my Discord and join the channel Malus Giveaway and post that you join and say, hey, entering to win. And I'm going to have a bot creep that and randomly draw a winner out of there. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to require you guys to hop into Discord. I want new players to enter. I don't want some veteran that's been playing for 20 years to enter this, because this isn't designed for veteran players. This is designed for a new player. I want all you people that are new to EVE Online to enter to win this character. And how it's going to work, there's some terms and conditions, is that you're going to have to give me your account name, not your very specifically, not your password. And I'm going to transfer the character to your account. And it's going to be public. I'm going to make a post up on the forums, on the EVE Online forums, and I'm going to advertise for the next 10 days, because it is the 21st of the next 9 days. And on the 30th, we're going to draw a winner. This giveaway is going for 9 days, but I'm going to give this character away. It's a brand new character that I've been working on for the past month to kind of make it a quick income earner for a new player and kind of demonstrate the process. But the giveaway is going to be Malus, and there's some rules that I have to follow to do it that you guys don't really have to worry too much about. But Malus is going to be the first character that I give away, and it is hopefully intended for a new player. but everybody has an equal chance to win, and we're going to begin advertising that very shortly in a lot of forums. Anyways, thought that was a good segue to throw that in there. To get into your first Abyss, you must form a fleet with yourself. So my name's Mayless, so I'm going to go down this list until I find May. It's alphabetical, so I'm going to find M. And there I am right here. We can right click on our own name in any chat. It can be Rookie Help. There's 900 people there. This is the chat that I'm in that has the least people, so I used it. And you're just going to go right click form fleet with yourself, and then suddenly you're your own FC, and now you're technically in a fleet, but you're by yourself. But you have a fleet form, so you can invite people in the fleet if you wanted to. I'm not sure if Dangerous Dave will join my fleet, but you can invite people or alts. Dangerous might accept it. I'm not sure if he's at his keyboard right now. But you can invite people in the fleet. See, look, there's Dangerous. He joined. 07, showing how to make a fleet. All right. So now that we're in a fleet, I can hit activate, and if I go to deploy, it won't let me activate because I don't have 3 filaments. I only have 2. So now we have our Dark Abyss has spawned. We have this little trace. It's going to show up on our overview if your overview settings are correct. It should be. I think the default overview has this on the overview. And then now we have an Abyssal trace. Once you enter this, you have 20 minutes to clear it, or you die. Or the NPCs kill you. You have to kill all the NPCs, except that there's one exception, which isn't important in this video. There's one exception. You can run into the World Arc room, and you won't be able to go through the... you can just go through the gate. But we won't encounter World Arc rooms at tier 0. You only encounter those at tier 5. This is Nika. She's the most adorable kitty. She's ratting in the background, playing with her mouse, and she wants my attention, of course. But to enter the Abyss, once we hit activate here, once the first person in your fleet hits activate, the timer starts. You got 20 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and go in and show you guys what the challenges are and what you have to do. So we're going to go in upon entering the trace. We'll get this cool little animation. We'll get thrown in this pretty room. We're in the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. All right, my video is being demonetized from 30 seconds of a reference to a song. Oi. All right, so we have what's not a scary spawn. There's a few things that can happen in this room. You can get automata suppressors, or well, not this room, but there's like a bajillion different variants of this. They're determined by RNG. All we have to do for 99% of the rooms is approach this can, turn on your hardener, and lock these 2 up. Once they're in locking range, our locking range is only 52. We're going to turn on our afterburner. It's important that we keep the afterburner on all the time. And then we're going to go ahead and start firing. We always have Nova loaded at the start of every room. And we just go ahead and kill this guy. There's only 2 of them, so they're not really a threat. And then as we start taking damage, we're taking 25. We're taking a little bit of damage. We have our repper set up on F2. We're going to hit F2 to repair when we take damage. We're going to turn it off to turn off our repper again. The idea behind this is that we don't want to repair too much because if we repair more than we're taking, we're wasting capacitor. We want to kind of work on our capacitor management. There's not a lot of pressure to do it right. And then as you can see, we're managing our capacitor. We're killing the NPCs. There's a biocombative cache wreck. There was a biocombative cache. We locked it up and killed it. Sorry, it's force of habit. I was going to explain what we were doing. But you have to kill that and get the wreck, which then it doesn't show up on your default overview. If it doesn't, where you killed the cache, if you hit control and drag like that, you can find it, right click, and then you can add wreck to overview. Right there, or you can set up a overview where the wreck is on one of the tabs and you can go back and forth between the tabs as necessary. We're going to go ahead and approach once we've cleared the thing and gotten the cache, or once we've acquired the cache and we're still killing the thing, we can go ahead and approach this transfer conduit, which again is on your overview, and we were kind of looking at it when we came into the Abyss. And as you can see, we're over repping into our capacitor 0. So we're in a little bit of trouble. We're going to turn our hardener back on, and we're just going to wait a second here. And then we'll go ahead and go through this. Now that we're out the gate, you can just go ahead and go on in. We're going to go ahead and get the second room. There are 3 rooms, and you have 20 minutes to clear them. And as you can see, that room only took me like a minute to clear. So we got a very similar spawn. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and approach the bioadaptive cache. We're going to go ahead and lock these 2 up. And we're going to go ahead and fire at them. There are 2 spawns which are scary that you have to look out for. Or sorry, 3 spawns which you have to look out for. There's the Devoted Hunter and the Pacifier and the Skybreaker are the 3 spawns that are scary to this setup. And they're scary for different reasons. And as you can see, the cap management isn't difficult. We just have to activate it and turn it off so that we don't kill our cap. We have way more rep than we need, except for against the Devoted Hunter. The Devoted Hunter is the only thing that will kill you if you over rep too much. So it's really important to practice using your repper as needed and not forgetting to turn it back off. And it just takes a little bit of practice. It's not that hard, and it will train you to be better at cap management as a EVE Online pilot. As you can see, we're not dying fast, so we can just go ahead and turn this on. And we'll go ahead and rep up really quick here while we clear this guy. And we'll be done with this room here. And hopefully I'll get something else to show you guys aside from more drone spawns. But the Tier 0 Abyss is fairly simple. We just go to the cache, go to the thing, and keep on running through. Like I said, there's only a couple things that are a threat, and they're the Skybreaker and the Pacifier. You do the same thing. You approach the can, and then instead of approaching the transfer conduit, you orbit it at 500 meters for the Pacifier and the Skybreaker, because they take a minute to kill. So they're not going to be dead by the time you reach the gate. They'll be dead quite a bit later, so you need to be able to keep on moving to mitigate damage. Hopefully I get a Devoted Hunter here. That would be fantastic. Nope. It looks like I'm going to have to find one. Again, most of the rooms are like this. You just approach this guy, right? Lock this guy up. Lock this guy up. No, lock all the things. We're not supposed to lock up the gate. Once you get into the 3rd room, you're going to get what's called an origin conduit. This is your ticket outside. Once you clear the room, you'll be able to exit the Abyss. And congratulations. If you're following this guide so far and this led to your first Abyss, tell me in the comments. I want to hear you guys' success stories. That would be fantastic to hear. That you guys got into Abyss or got to try Abyss because of a video I made. That would make my day. But yeah, they're really easy to do. And I'm going to go hunt for a couple examples of the difficult rooms. And it looks like we got 1.6 million ISK. We actually got lucky on this job. This is kind of rare. This is worth 500,000 ISK. I know it doesn't sound a lot to some of you veterans, but for a new player, this is amazing. We just took a 3.3 million-ish ship and walked out with 2.8 million ISK in like 5 minutes. Just wrap your head around that for a second. Took a 3.3 million-ish ship and in 5 minutes had a 50% return on investment. So if we just repeat this a few times or a lot of times, you'll have a little bit of money. This is how you get started. It's that simple. Now you can buy your next ship, right? So say you ran 10 of these. Maybe you lost 1 or 2. We can go ahead and progress to the next ship. But I'm off to go hunt for those additional spawns. And that is how you do an Abyss. That is a relatively carefree Abyss that we ran. I'm going to have to go farm a few of these to find those scarier spawns in order to make a guide or to finish this guide. Yeah. Anyways, congratulations on your first Abyss if you're following along with this video. May many, many more, and may you make lots of ISK from doing them, and also lose lots of ISK and crazy things. Anyways, yeah. One last thing, when you're flying the Kestrel, because of its less than 100% success rate, depending on your risk tolerance, you do want to make sure you go back up and dock after every Abyssal site to drop off your loot and to refill your ammo and make sure that you have the equipment you need to run the next site. That is really all that I got to add on doing Abyss. Depending on your risk tolerance, if you have a ship that reliably completes Abyss, you can do multiple sites in succession. But again, depending on your risk tolerance, if you are fine with running for 20 minutes and then going and docking up, and then potentially losing half an hour of work because you didn't dock up, but with the higher rate of return and less than 100% chance, I would always advise to go ahead and dock up between sites. Go ahead and check on your ammo, refill, get repairs if you overheated something. And yeah, so between sites, it's a good idea to dock up. So we got one of the scary spawns here. This is a devoted hunter. He does primarily EM damage. And spoiler alert, our EM damage is bad. We're going to go ahead and orbit the can at 20 kilometers. And then we're going to immediately load to Caldari Milliner light missiles that do EM damages. That's his lowest resist. And as you can see, orbiting the can at 20 makes us run away from him, mitigating his damage as much as possible. And then we're just going to munch on him. We hold this orbit and we pray. And the hope is that we kill him before he kills us. And what's really important here is that we manage our reps so that we get efficient use out of them while we're taking the damage. But as you can see, a little bit of damage is incoming. It's not the end of the world. You might go into armor or hull as they're learning how to do this, but it is pretty easy. On some of the more advanced ships, you just turn on the rep and then run it for the duration of the fight with the hunter, and you end up being all right. But he is a shield tank, just like we are. So as soon as you break his shields, he's soon to be dead. And this is the scariest thing that you can come in across, as it's the only one that can actually kill you, rather than you not being able to kill it. But yeah, this is the scariest spawn you can get. So that's how we deal with it. We orbit the can at 20 kilometers, and then we kill it. And that's it. It's that easy. Of course, we're going to go approach our can, get our way out, and that's all for the hunter spawn, or the devoted hunter spawn. So I attempted for a while to get the spawns for Pacifier and Skybreaker to give you guys an example of the difficulties that spawn gives you. But I couldn't get them. They are rare. They are uncommon. It's not something that happens very frequently. So when you do encounter them, just load EM damage ammo, being your Caldari Navy Milner, and then fire and see if you beat them. If you can't beat them, you can try and overheat your weapons. You can overheat by holding shift and clicking on the weapon. The little green on top that says that it's on will kind of like shine a brighter shade of green. And then you'll notice that things start turning red. The red will sundial around the bottom of the kind of start dialing around the bottom of the module. If that red gets all the way across, your guns break and you die. In order to overheat, you do require Thermodynamics trained on your character, which is an engineering skill. This skill here, I'm currently going to be training it a little bit on my character, but it requires Thermodynamics 1 to overheat your weapons. That can add up to 10% DPS. And if all else fails, you will either time out or just fly out of bounds. And you can get out of the situation, keep on running again. Again, they are rare enough. You will make money flying this Kestrel. It's kind of without a doubt. It's going to make money. The devoted hunter spawn is quite a bit more common. And the other strange one, you'll come across Demovex, but there's a Demovex Villa, or a Villa Demovex. I can't remember exactly what it's called, and it's fairly rare in Tier 0. So it's going to be hard for me to capture this one as well. But what happens is it launches a bunch of little drones. And so there's the Demovic and a bunch of like little drones. They're like little faded X's in your overview. Ignore those guys. Just kill the Demovic. As soon as the Demovic dies, they go inert and the room is complete. Those are the 2 spawns. I think that's everything for what you can encounter as far as spawns go, and the guide for doing it. If you encounter something that I haven't described or shown here, please let me know in the comments. I don't even know how many tier 0 darks I've done on this character, and I only lost once due to a timeout coming across a Skybreaker. Activities, there's an activity tracker. I know there is. Personal activity tracker. All this character is done. I guess I don't have an activity tracker on this character. Personal activity tracker. There's no data. It should be tracking the amount of. That's odd that that's not available. Anyways, we tried to show, but I've done a good number of tier 0 Dark Abyss, and that's specifically what we're doing is tier 0 darks. We're looking, we don't want to do gammas, firestorms, electros. You can try. The spawns are no different, but darks give us a big advantage. They reduce the turret range of all the NPCs by 30%, and most of them use turrets, and that mitigates their damage significantly. And that is what keeps this ship alive. It doesn't have a lot of tank on it. It's kind of made of paper. Yeah, and that's what you need to know to fly the Kestrel. So once you've been doing these darks for a minute in that Kestrel, and you decided you wanted something, you can run more than one site without, or you want to run more than one site without, wow, I screwed this up. You want to run more than one site without going back to station. So what you can do is you can upgrade to a hook bill. And the reason you would want to upgrade to a hook bill is it has a greater than 99% chance of survival. Meaning every time you go into a dark, you're probably going to come out, meaning you can carry something like 30 filaments with you and then just go run 10 sites between dockups, which is kind of nice. You carry a little bit more ammo, and you're flying something a bit more expensive. Notice this is 10x the cost. So losing this is a bit more painful than, say, losing that Kestrel. And so I wouldn't get this until you have a firm understanding of what you're doing, and you know, and you've trained your skills up a bit, and you got an idea of what's going on. But let's go over this fit. We haven't changed the rockets. We did, in fact, upgrade the rockets a little bit. We went to airless compact light missiles. We still have the 1MN YS8 compact afterburner, compact cap recharger, and a second cap recharger. We went down to a small shield booster, and I'll explain the reasoning and how that works in with one of the fights. It's the only one that affects, but we went down a small shield booster to free up CPU power grid and make a stronger capacitor, and then we went to a compact multi-spectrum shield hardener. We have 2 Tech 2 ballistics controls. You might need additional skills to train this as it's tight on CPU. We got 2 capacitor control circuits, and then a loading bay accelerator. If you're fine with trading a little bit of speed and DPS, you can trade the loading bay accelerator for, if we simulate this, we could trade this for another capacitor rig, and that would make us cap stable. And then we just turn this on at the beginning of the site, and we don't have to worry about maintaining our capacitor, which is kind of nice. It's a trade-off that you make, and then it makes it more difficult. I wouldn't do this until you have higher skills, because it makes it more difficult against the Skybreaker. This ship, almost 100% of the time, just slings out Caldari Navy Scourge, kind of like the other one, just slings a bunch of... it slings out the Caldari Navy Nova, but this one also, you want to carry Caldari Navy Scourge as well as Milner Light, as well as Milner for EM damage. The only time that you switch to Milner ammo is against Pacifier and Skybreaker. Otherwise, you always just use Caldari Navy. The plan is the same for every single spawn. Approach the can, kill the NPC, kill the KN, get to the gate, do that. Versus the Hunter, you're going to continue orbiting at 20. And then versus the pacifiers, you change. Well, the only difference is for the Hunter, you can continue slinging Scourge. It doesn't make that that big of a difference to switch to EM. The reason you want to primarily use Scourge while using the hook bill is because you do more damage doing kinetic than you do doing EM, explosive, or thermal. You carry EM just for the pacifier and Skybreaker in the event that you can't break them. You can break the pacifier without carrying Milner ammo, but you can't break the Skybreaker. So you should always carry Milner as well. And then again, it's basically the exact same thing. You come across the 2 DD spawns, you switch to Milner. It's always advised to carry a Pyrolantia in the event that you can't break the Skybreaker on the first time you encounter it. You'll know once you run into it, I'm not breaking this, take this, and then overheat. Don't overheat and then be like, well, I'm going to take this instead of overheating it. It won't work. You do both. Or you take this, see if you can break it with just this, and then you start adding overheat, because this will last an hour. Or if you don't have biology trained, it lasts 30 minutes. So it'll last long enough for you to find out. And the other note is that when you run into the Hunter, you turn on your small repper and you leave it on. Because even though you're not cap stable, it lasts 2.5 minutes. That's longer than the fight with the Hunter. You might need to overheat the hardener, and you might need to overheat the repper. Again, train thermodynamics as well to survive against the Hunter. Aside from that, this is really easy to fly. And this is the second kind of step up. This will increase your income per hour by about 10 to 15% and allow you to continuously run rather than going back to station, meaning you also make more ISK an hour as you're spending less time traveling to and from the station. So this is a good little moderate step up. And then when you buy this, make sure that you still have a Kestrel. In the event that you lose this ship for whatever reason, you still want to have the Kestrel to fall back on. Whenever you upgrade a ship, you always want to leave the ship that you had behind so that you have something to fall back on. And then once you've been flying for a while, you've been flying that hook bill for a bit, you maybe trade up Gallente Frigate and gotten T2 light missiles and saved up 100 million ISK or so, you can upgrade your ship. Again, this brought me upgrading from this, or from the hook bill to this, yielded me a lot of gain. And most of that gain was from going from 4 minute 45 to 5 minute to a 4 to 4 minute 30-second average sight time, and yielding us much more speed. It is tight on CPU, and it is significantly more expensive at 3 times the cost. But again, the gains are pretty worth it. By the time we got this, we were able to use tier 2 light missiles. We trained up some more skills. We got a little bit stronger capacitor and a bunch of things like that. We were given, actually, I don't have I have a couple of muted tier 2 crosslinks that give us an additional 10 DPS, but I'm not going to show you that in this example. This is how I bought it. So we have the 3 crosslinks. These are like 3 million ISK a piece. So this is 10 million of that 100 million ISK right there. We have 2 small capacitor circuits and a small processor overclocking unit. This is an expensive module, but it's a Dreadgris, a small shield booster. This increases your survival rate significantly. And we have a Republic Fleet small cap battery. This makes it so you can run this rather than the PB acid. This gives us a little bit more capacitor and allows us to run the repper a little bit more generously without worrying. Same compact multi-spectrum shield hardener that we have been using forever. YS8 compact afterburner. Considered upgrades to this ship is kind of about as fast as you're going to get in Tier 0 Abyss. Is CPU permitting as you train skills. To get this to tier 2, upgrading the crosslink to a tier 2 gives you a nice healthy buff of DPS, as well as possibly mutaplasmating these, and then upgrading this to a dead space type repper can yield cap stability if you go with a Gistum A type. I believe they're like 100 million ISK, doubles the cost of the ship, but it makes it cap stable and frees up a lot of things. If you do the Pitham A type, you can drop this, and then we're trying to figure out what to do with that extra CPU. We're thinking about putting on an EM rig and then throwing it into tier 1 and seeing how it handles. but we do have concerns making that jump as well, because if we go into tier 1, we have to deal with grips. That's a whole nother situation. But this is a relatively low skill point, accessible income. It makes about 20 million ISK an hour. And you can step from the Kestrel to the Hookbill up into this, then you're making 20 million ISK an hour. Now, I feel this is a really good launching point to get into any activity in the game. At 20 million ISK an hour, if you save up for a month and you play for 2 hours a day, that is easily your Plex. That is easily saving up 2 hours a day. That's about 1.5 billion ISK a month that you can make if you spend 2 hours a day flying this. But I mean, that's enough to pay for your daily alpha injector. That's enough to do a lot of things. You can save up and get a cruiser to get into high sec exploration. You can start launch padding into other activities and figuring out what you like. But this really gives you a platform to fall back on or grow from in Abyss. And I feel like this is a really solid start for new players to kind of get into this Garmer and make their ISK. That being said, yeah, I guess I'll do the outro here. I want to say thank you to all for watching. I enjoyed making this video. Oh, I didn't go over what this Garmer needs to do. So the difference, this Garmer flies just like the Kestrel. It's still afraid of the Hunter. You want to orbit the Hunter at 20. And you load Milner for the Hunter, the Skybreaker, and the Pacifier, and you shoot explosive at everything else. One cool part about going T2 launchers is you start using tier 2 ammo, which does more damage. It doesn't have as good application, but it does more damage, and it costs nothing compared to the faction ammo. So the operating cost of the ship is like nothing compared to the Kestrel and the Hookbill, because now we're running tier 2 ammo. That kind of changes the equation a little bit. You also find that automata suppressors are frustrating. You see a lot of sparks in the sky, fly in the direction the sparks are flying and get out of it, and then you'll be able to apply your damage. That's one bit that I forgot to mention in the other bits, but I'm sure you guys will figure that out. Anyways, fly fun. I'll make an outro. So if you made it this far in the video and you've watched the whole thing, I do want to say thank you. It has been quite a fun day making this video. Make sure you leave your comments in the description, like the video, and of course, subscribe to the channel to get more like it. It's been a fun one. Guys, make sure you not only fly fun, but you strive to be hateless and enjoy your time playing not just EVE Online, but all video games. Proceed to help each other and lead the way to a better gaming world. If we all help one another and we pass that forward, gaming as a whole will get better. And I will see you guys in the next one.